From two-headed river mutants with bony growths to mysterious creatures from the ocean depths, reminiscent of heroes from ancient myths. Today, fishermen are pulling out of the water something much stranger than just fish. Each such find baffles even experienced researchers and sparks a storm of speculation among viewers. Today, I invite you on a journey into the mysteries of the depths. Everything that reminds us of ancient myths can be found in various latitudes of the ocean, and not only in the ocean. Such a monster was caught in the Russian hinterland. According to the fishermen, this creature bites through sticks. If you thought the ocean had already shown everything it's capable of, get ready to be surprised, because what was captured on camera is not just strange, it's frighteningly strange. In the footage, there's a creature with pinkish-gray skin lying motionless on a wooden board. Light plays on its shiny skin, and sharp teeth protrude from its half-open mouth. The body shape is somewhat human, but not quite. Something subtly confuses: arms that are too elongated, a torso that's too narrow, as if someone crossed a human with a creature from the abyss. The initial comments under the video are not just surprise, they are panic. Some call the creature a real mermaid, others a mutant, and some insist it's not a fish at all. It's someone or something. Scientists have not yet provided explanations, neither confirmations nor refutations. The video went viral. Millions of views, thousands of speculations, and of course theories emerged, from secret experiments to messengers from another world. Sometimes the line between science fiction and reality is thinner than it seems. Maybe it's just a deformed fish, or perhaps it's the first visible signal. We know catastrophically little about the depths, and while the mystery remains unsolved, the main question hangs in the air. Is this a random find or a warning? A marmandil is a type of sea spirit, or merman, often depicted with the upper body resembling a human and the lower part like a fish. According to Icelandic sagas and legends, fishermen sometimes accidentally caught it at sea. The creature was generally not hostile, but it was always considered dangerous as an omen. Its appearance symbolized something forthcoming. The most intriguing ability of the marmandil was the gift of clairvoyance. It could predict the future, reveal hidden secrets, or warn of misfortunes. In one of the tales, a marmandil caught in a fishing net foretold an imminent storm to the fishermen, after which it was released back into the sea. Imagine, you go out into the open sea just for fish, and suddenly something rises from the abyss that seems like it should have remained in prehistoric books. This is not a mirage or a fabrication. This is a goblin shark, alive and real. And it seems to have risen to us from the very edge of the ocean's darkness. This is exactly what the locals saw near the Canary Islands. They were catching hake and deep-sea perch at a depth of almost 3,000 feet when suddenly a flash of grey-pink skin and a terrifying mouth full of teeth like a steak knife. At first, the men thought it was a swordfish. Well, who else could surface with such an elongated nose? But they took a closer look and realized in front of them was something entirely different. In front of them was one of the rarest sharks in the world. The goblin shark, a creature that usually hides in complete darkness at great depths and almost never appears at the surface. It has skin the color of raw meat, a head elongated like a beak, and a movable jaw that extends forward, like in an alien movie. Such anatomy is not just frightening, but as if from another time when monsters the length of a bus roamed the oceans. The goblin shark is not just a rare visitor, it is a true mystery of nature. Scientists call it a living fossil. Over millions of years, it has changed very little. Imagine, this fish witnessed dinosaurs walking on land and survived. It adapted to darkness, to monstrous pressure, to a world where there is neither light nor warmth. And here it appears next to humans. In our age, in our era, almost as a reminder, the ocean still holds its secrets. Scientists are still debating why the shark surfaced. Perhaps it was sick, perhaps injured, or maybe due to temperature fluctuations at depth or underwater noises. One thing is certain, this encounter is a rare chance to look into the face of the ancient world. And if you believe those who have seen it, it's a face you wouldn't want to meet in the dark, even if you're on land. The year is 1817, the eastern coast of the USA. Fishermen from Gloucester, Massachusetts, routinely go out to sea, but instead of the usual catch, a shark. Right beside them, just a few yards from the boats, something enormous appears. A creature ranging from 90 to 120 feet long, with wave-like humps on its back, swimming at the surface, undulating like a giant snake. It would be one thing if it were just one frightened sailor, but there are dozens, then hundreds, fishermen, traders, ship captains. Their descriptions are eerily similar: an elongated body, almost finless, dark, humped. Sometimes it would dive, but more often, it swam right at the surface. No documents with precise evidence have survived. No bones, no photographs, although that would have been impossible at the time. But what remains are witness interrogations, sketches, and most importantly, the feeling that they spoke the truth sincerely, without the desire for fame or to frighten. Thus the Gloucester sea serpent appeared. A creature that became a local legend and a magnet for tourists. It is still being searched for to this day. Some believe it was a large whale or a giant snakehead fish. Some say it was an illusion caused by the refraction of light on the waves. But others are convinced that something still lurks in the depths that defies classification. February 2025. The quiet beach of Playa El Quemado, Baja California Sur, Mexico. A day like any other, sun waves tourists with cocktails. But in a couple of minutes, all of this will turn into footage that will spread around the world because something appears in the water, a creature as if it stepped off the pages of ancient myths, a paddlefish, also known as the doomsday fish. Robert Hayes from Idaho, while walking along the shore with his wife, notices a strange shadow in the water. At first it seems like an alligator, then a shark. But no, as they get closer, they see a long silvery body with a high dorsal fin ribbon. It's definitely a paddlefish, a fish that even scientists more often study from fragments or photographs rather than in person. It raises its head about 2 inches above the water and slowly swims towards the shore. Paddlefish are creatures from another world. They usually stay at depths ranging from 650 to 3,300 feet. You won't see them on the surface, especially alive. It's like encountering a shark in the desert. But on this day, the fish seems to be searching for something or someone. Since ancient times in Asia, paddlefish have been considered harbingers of disasters. Where they are, there are supposedly earthquakes. They even have a frightening nickname, doomsday fish. But science says otherwise. No direct connection has been proven. However, it is known that paddlefish come to the surface when something unusual happens. Illness, disorientation, or perhaps changes in the ocean, for example, due to El Niño or La Niña. The specimen that appeared off the coast of Mexico was not of record size, only a few feet, whereas in the depths, individuals up to 36 feet long can be found. But even this small encounter had the effect of a bomb going off. The video of the paddlefish instantly went viral on social media, sparking thousands of discussions and speculations. Some were frightened, others were fascinated, but no one remained indifferent. And as the doomsday fish returns to the darkness, only one question remains: what did it see down there that made it rise to the surface? If you think mutants are just about science fiction and movies, then you definitely need to visit the Voronezh region, because there, according to local fishermen, the waters are literally teeming with creatures that biology seemingly did not order. A seasoned local fisherman caught something that makes the blood run cold. The creature is completely covered in a shell, as if in armor. Its head is like a frog's, with the mouth underneath, and inside the teeth are not sharp, not fish-like, but human. Yes, real incisors and molars. The fins of this fish are such that it seems capable of not only swimming but also moving on land. The fishermen are in shock. Someone jokes, the next evolutionary step. But some are no longer laughing. And this is not the only case. The same fisherman recalls catching a catfish before, but an unusual one. It was bright yellow, with 4 whiskers below and 4 above, and its entire body was covered in spikes. He pricked himself on one of them. First, his hand went numb, then his entire arm up to the shoulder. "How I survived, I don't understand myself," says the man. And there is no exaggeration in his voice. In 1977, a Japanese trawler named Zuyo Maru pulled something out of the water that still troubles both scientists and sea monster hunters. It all happened off the coast of New Zealand, near the city of Christchurch. The crew lifted from the depths a huge, foul-smelling creature, as if it had come straight out of an illustration in a book about prehistoric monsters. This carcass had a long neck, 4 flipper-like fins, an elongated tail, and not the slightest hint of the familiar outlines of whales or sharks. The sailors immediately named the find after the Loch Ness Monster. It weighed about 4,000 pounds. The length was almost 33 feet. Everything looked as if it were a plesiosaur, one of those that disappeared from the face of the earth millions of years ago. The flesh had begun to decompose, the insides were destroyed, but the overall outline was terrifyingly clear. And that very smell, it smelled of death and antiquity. But instead of taking the carcass on board, Captain Akira Tanaka ordered it to be thrown back into the sea. He feared that the strange find would spoil the entire catch. However, the sailors managed to take photographs, collect tissue and bone samples, and sent all of it to Japan. Scientists, of course, got involved in the debate. Some insisted, "This is truly something new, unrecognized." Others spoke firmly, "We are looking at an ordinary giant shark in a state of decomposition." Such carcasses lose their lower jaw and fins during decomposition and can indeed resemble a prehistoric monster. In February 2025, Russian fisherman Roman Fedortsov once again found himself in the spotlight. The very sailor from Murmansk, who became famous on social media thanks to his frightening and mesmerizing catches from the sea floor, this time pulled a creature from the northern part of the Pacific Ocean that seemed not quite earthly to many. In the video posted on his Instagram, you can see in the frame is a gray-black mass with bulging eyes, a bloated body, and a mouth gaping as if it is about to emit an inhuman scream. The internet did not take long to react. Some compared the fish to characters from the movie Mars Attacks. Others recalled Megamind and even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There were also those who jokingly suggested that the creature was caught near Chernobyl. But no aliens, just depth and pressure. Fedorov himself explained that it is a deep-sea frogfish, scientifically known as an optocycle. It inhabits depths of up to 5,500 feet in the cold waters of the northern Pacific Ocean. And its frightening appearance is the result of a simple physical phenomenon. The ascent from the depths caused barotrauma. The pressure dropped sharply, the insides swelled, the body stretched, and there you have an alien from the sea. Fedorov has long become an internet hero. He doesn't just fish, he documents a world foreign to the eye, hidden in the sea's darkness. Each of his photos is like a window into the ocean's depths. Without filters, without embellishments, just proof of how little we know about life beneath the water's surface. And then you look at this fish and think, if such creatures live right beneath our feet, what else does the depth conceal? Perhaps the real mysteries aren't in space, but where light doesn't penetrate at all. Can you even imagine a creature with two mouths? It sounds like science fiction, but that's exactly the kind of catch that took a fisherman by surprise when he pulled what seemed to be an ordinary fish from the depths. At first glance, nothing seemed strange, but upon closer inspection, his heart sank. It didn't have just one mouth, but two. Yes, two fully formed mouths, two sets of jaws. As if nature couldn't decide which end to start from. Some immediately said, mutant. They claimed it was a genetic malfunction. It happens. Others, watching the video, whispered, it's a sign. But one thing is certain, no editing, no forgery. Two jaws in one body. And all of this lives, breathes, somehow eats, although no one has really figured out exactly how. This case reminds us once again, the ocean is not just a body of water, it's another world. And the deeper we look into it, the more it resembles a mystery. Because real wonders aren't in books, but where people rarely go. And nature there doesn't ask for permission to be strange. They were just fishing, as usual, with rods, nets, in warm company by the shore. And suddenly, movement in the water. At first it seemed like it was just a large catfish, but what surfaced left everyone truly stunned. Something rose from the river, large, dark, with a body of a strange color and a shape that was hard to describe. It didn't attack, didn't move threateningly, but still looked as if it didn't belong here. The creature accidentally got caught in the net and was thrashing about, as if realizing it had been captured. It couldn't free itself. But the people couldn't come to an agreement. Some said it was just an ordinary fish, just very large. Others insisted loudly that it was something entirely different, either a mutant or an entirely unknown species to science. It had a mysterious, almost shimmering underwater hue, and a size that no one had ever seen in this river. And then you can't help but wonder, what if this is not an exception? What if this is just the tip of the iceberg and somewhere down there in the depths creatures are hiding that we can't even imagine? After all, rivers can keep their secrets just as well as oceans. We just haven't learned to read them yet. Who said that a fisherman is always a hunter? Sometimes everything turns out quite differently. One of them, experienced and confident, felt a sharp, jarring tug. It seemed as if the tackle had snagged on a rock. But rocks don't move, and this was moving with such force that the man's legs buckled. The catch was pulling down, as if something 100 times heavier than himself was sitting in the depths. The line went taut, pain shot through his finger, and in the next moment the fisherman lost his balance. He almost flew overboard but managed to hold on. But his hands trembled for a long time afterward. What was it? A giant catfish? An underwater predator, or something better left unknown? On a beach in South Africa, the day began as usual, with the sun, the sound of the surf, and a lazy calm. But in a moment, all of this was replaced by amazement bordering on shock. A giant squid was thrown onto the shore from the water. People gathered, some with phones, others simply with their mouths agape. In front of them lay a mollusk whose length exceeded 33 feet, and its weight, according to eyewitness estimates, could reach several hundred pounds. Its tentacles were like ropes, and its eyes were enormous like spotlights. All of this looked not like a natural accident, but like a scene from a movie about sea monsters. The squid did not move, but its mere appearance was enough to make the spectators on the beach feel not in a leisure area, but on the edge of something unknown. Soon, local service workers arrived, carefully moved the carcass, and took it away for study. What brought this giant to the shore remains a mystery. Perhaps it was an illness, a disorientation failure, or maybe just a reminder that beneath the water's surface live creatures about which we know almost nothing. And sometimes they come right to us, onto the sand, under the morning sun. Sometimes rivers and seas turn into a real arena, where everything changes places, where the one who thinks they are the hunter suddenly finds themselves on the hook, and only one question remains. Are you the hunter or the prey here? Write in the comments about similar cases that could be featured on my channel. Stay healthy, like and subscribe to the channel.